Hey, y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Gut Girls podcast. Today is going to be a little bit, I would call it almost like a lighter day where we're not going to just dive in like to tons of education. We're going to share with you about something that Angela and I have been doing together. You may remember us talking about a 2-week detox kit back several episodes ago. You can go back and listen to that, where we really talk about, the behind the scenes. Why do we use this 2-week detox kit? But this time, Angela and I are actually right in the middle of it. And by the time this airs, Angela will be about finished and I'll be a few days behind. We'll tell you all about that here in this episode. So let's just jump right in. Angela, tell us a little bit about this detox kit. It's obviously 2 weeks. We do 2 protein shakes per day, 2 capsule packets per day, like when you do those shakes, and then you kind of eat a lean and green. But let's dive into it. Tell us a little bit about the detox and, why we do it.
Yeah, so this is a hot topic because I feel like everyone looks for some kind of cleanse, and I should probably say that in air quotes, like, how do I cleanse my liver? How do I reset my body? And so we are on the Designs for Health Paleo Cleanse Plus kit. That's the one Diana's talking about. That's the 2-week kit. And the beauty of this kit, I've done it so many times over the past several years. And in fact, it is designed to be done quarterly if you want to do it that way. And so I say that because then it tells you right off the bat that it is super gentle, yet guys, it is one of the most effective ways to do a full body reset. One, because it's applicable. It's 2 weeks, right? We're not asking you to starve yourself for 30 days, like Diana said. We're not asking for the extreme. It is literally designed to support the liver in what it's already doing day in and day out in your body, which is detoxification, right? So this kit, it like Diana said, it has 2 shakes, and those shakes are essentially just a hydro beef protein powder, which, if we want to go into that detail, that's one of the most easiest to digest protein powders out there. And so it's really safe for a lot of people to do. And then with that, it's the supplements, which are loaded with basically like amino acids. There's B vitamins. There's a little bit of milk thistle in it. Supplements like calcium deglucarate, calcium deglucarate. It's a big one to get out, which supports even binding to those estrogens that get recycled through the body. And so this is detoxing at every level, but it's supporting the natural process rather than just like taking over the body or starving the body. And you get to eat on this cleanse too. And we're going to talk about this with some of our members that are actually, there's one other member right now doing it with us, and a little bit of her experience doing it, because that's a big component of it, is learning how to eat on this cleanse. And I think how to adapt it to what you're going through in life, which again makes it applicable to all stages and seasons of life, right, Diana?
Yeah, it really does. And like you said, it is a little bit different it's a lot different, I guess, than just doing some kind of like 2-week juice cleanse, something like that. Because these protein powders, just as you said, are designed to have all the vitamins and minerals to put back into the body as you're detoxing. And so it's really strategic and methodical the way that they put together this 2-week detox kit. And so one of the reasons that I always do it is I just feel like it's a great reset for me. Just like you said, doing it quarterly can be so beneficial. I probably don't honestly do it quarterly. I do it maybe twice a year, something like that. It seems to be a good reset for me because it's kind of an all in. Like, you don't want to just halfway do it. We are going to talk about some exceptions and things that we do during the kit. But for the most part, you really want to kind of, make the investment, the time, the money, and the energy to do this for your body to be able to kind of detox safely. So Angela, now we're going to I want you to tell me, what is your least favorite thing about the detox kit?
I love to, let's say, you get into habits, right? Like, what you're going to eat for breakfast. Typically I have I'm making a huge dinner, so I have leftovers for lunch. So I think it's just a little bit of throwing me off my routine, which in a way can feel like, oh my gosh, but then I have found ease in it too. So it's like the hard part of it, of not having that routine. actually feels a little bit easy because I can wake up as a mom right now with two little ones, and like a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. Sometimes those mornings are crazy. And so I found myself like sometimes before the kid even eating my breakfast, but like under stress, right? Like, oh my gosh, this one's having a meltdown about getting dressed this morning and the bus is going to be here in 10 minutes. And oh my gosh, I just need to eat these eggs, right? And so like lately with this kid, I'm like, okay, I can actually take them to the bus, get this one dressed, and then just make this shake. It's going to be so simple this morning. Like there's a little bit of ease to it. And so even though I'm used to having, my breakfast, it's like in a way I'm like, okay, this is actually a little bit easier right now, these next 2 weeks, for me. And then the other thing I would say is I sometimes get in the habit, even as a gut girl, to have like just a little extra coffee in the morning. Like I'll make, not that I have like 2 cups, but I'm like, oh, I'll stretch that 8 ounces to be like a full 8 ounces of coffee in the morning. And I've stocked the caffeine on this detox kit, because that's one of the things when Diana says like this is an investment, you do want to do it right, guys. If you're going to cleanse, like why not go all in, right? That's what the kit asks you. It asks you like, hey, let's come off of something that we have become so dependent on, right? And really clean the body out. And so in the mornings at first, I would say I was like, oh gosh, I smell the coffee because my husband's still having it, but I don't get to enjoy it. But then I have actually found it's making sure like I'm going back to the bone broth like you do all the time, even outside of the kit. I'm like, but actually I'm still having a warm cup in the morning. And so I don't even remember how many days in, I'm like, this isn't really bad. I'm having a warm cup. I'm sitting here. I'm still getting to do, maybe a little bit of devotional time in the morning. It actually feels good. So what about for you? What's been one of the hardest things?
Well, I would say I do kind of get tired of doing the shakes. I'm kind of like you, where I'm like, oh man, I'd rather have my eggs for breakfast, or make my lunch or something, because I do enjoy having my little leftovers for lunch. It just feels fulfilling. And a lot of times, Todd and I, if we have time, we'll just come home and knock out like a 20-minute workout or whatever between running the girls in the afternoon. So I use that meal to kind of prepare for that. So I feel a little bit like, I'm eating less, I would say, for sure during this process. So that I kind of get tired of the shakes. And then really, I would say the other thing, just the obvious things like missing out. I mean, I find myself, not going to grab cheese to put on something or whatever, which is obviously great, and I'm like, I can live without cheese. It's kind of like you, like with your coffee. I'm like, why do I have to put cheese on anything, and not that I was like doing it a ton, but you just kind of realize like on a taco, just put guacamole. Like, well, I don't really necessarily have to have cheese, doing a taco salad or something like that. So just like remembering those kind of things like that I need to eliminate, not doing things like grabbing a quick protein bar, stuff like that. Thankfully for me, I never got into coffee, so that's not something that's really important to me. But I will say every now and then I would drink a pre-workout, especially if I was going to do kind of a more intense workout. Then I love to kind of just drink. And a lot of times it would even be really just like a half serving of that, but I have cut that out for these 2 weeks as well. So I would say, I know there's like kind of a lot, but just those little things that I kind of miss throughout the 2 weeks, that it's kind of mind over matter, right? Just like you said, you're like, nope, I'm not gonna do my detox kit. Nope, my detox kit, my pre-workout, I'm doing this detox kit. I'm not going to do the pre-workout. I'm not going to add a little bit of cheese or whatever to my taco salad, for example. So those are really probably the things. So what do you like the most about it?
Well, and that reminds me, we should probably, before I answer that question, I'm wondering if people are like, wait, so you have to go dairy free on this cleanse? You know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if people are thinking that. So let me just answer that real quick of, yes, when you are cleaning out the body, think of some of the most inflammatory foods that are over consumed, right? Like Dana said, sometimes it sneaks in on you and you don't even know that. So high loads of dairy, high loads of gluten, high loads of sugar, right? And then high loads of caffeine. I would say those are like the 4 things that, yes, you are asked on this kit to, come down on if you absolutely can't give it all up, or completely eliminate those. And then that will go into probably what I like the most, which is eventually, it's funny because you say you kind of get bored of the shakes. Eventually, I have found that I do start to crave the shakes. So after a while, I'm like, okay, my body is actually craving the protein powder, and I feel that my body is craving even the capsules because there's this sense of like clarity in my life when I get about a week. So it's 2 weeks, right? It's about a week in where I'm like, oh gosh, I'm waking up. I've got energy. Like I'm not stiff or I don't feel 40. That's for sure. And I'm waking up and I'm welcoming the day, even if it's hard. I feel like I'm not as overwhelmed, honestly, about the agenda for the day. I've noticed it even in my own parenting. Like that's the beauty, I think, of when you go all in. It's like it's not just cleansing the diet. It's like when you cleanse the diet, it actually, I think, allows you to cleanse a lot of the habitual, even like behavioral things that go with it, right? And so for me, I'm like, a weekend, I'm like, I'm really loving this. I mean, it's so beneficial in so many ways. I've had some really good walks in the morning on this cleanse because I just have the shake and I'm okay, get the girls out and I'm on a walk, and I've never like experienced the depth of my walk that way because I feel like, you are fasting in a sense, right? It's not like a fast where you're not eating at all, but you are, like Diana said, a little under calorically intaking food. And it's like when you're in that state, I don't know, there's just this sense of like receiving. So I feel like I've even gotten a little bit more into like my walks and meditations so far. So tell us a little bit about you, Diana. What have you experienced and what do you like the most about it?
I would say I too kind of like the feeling of being more in control of my food, my choices, just kind of almost kind of the same thing that you said, just in a little bit of a different way. And I do like the way that my stomach kind of feels. I don't feel very bloated. And bowel movements seem to be almost even more regular than they were before, if that's possible. Like sometimes I'm having an additional one, which is a good thing, as long as it's a normal BM, right?
Right.
And so, I like that it kind of like, it's a true reset. And so, okay, we're going to start with, the next thing I want to talk about is like, tell us about when you started, and did you have any kind of like detoxing effect? Because sometimes we have what's called a little bit of a Herxheimer effect. And just like you said, I mean, this is designed to be a healthy detox and not just like a crash diet. But when you're detoxing like that, like you're still truly detoxing. And so you may have what's called a Herxheimer effect. And so, tell us about yours, and then if you could kind of briefly tell us about our clients too, and then I'll share my experience.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys know, like I do enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning. So coming off caffeine in general can be a little bit challenging. I don't experience headaches when I come off caffeine, even outside of doing this cleanse. I just experience a little bit of like, that grogginess of like, I don't feel as clear. So I did experience that maybe the first 2 days, but then like after that, it was gone. Like I said, now I'm feeling extremely clear-headed. But what's interesting is I've had, even not in this personal experience, but I've had experiences in the past where I've recommended the shakes or the kit for clients who were heavily dependent on caffeine. And I mean, they just couldn't do the cleanse because they couldn't get off the caffeine. And so here's my response to that. If you're listening and you're like, that's my biggest fear. One, it actually awakens you to the fact that you are clearly dependent on something. Like caffeine is a substance, right? So to me, it's like that awakening is huge to know that your body is completely dependent on something. And then that alone should motivate you to be like, okay, I should probably do something about this. And so it doesn't mean you can't do the kit. It just means you should probably work prior to starting the kit to weaning yourself off caffeine. That might take you 2 weeks to do that, where you're doing just a little less every single morning, to where then you're like, okay, I'm having it every other day, every third day. And then it's like, okay, I'm not having it at all. Then jump into the kit if that's someone that, is listening and heavily needing their caffeine in the morning. So I'd say that's one of the biggest things. What about for you?
So for me, and really even this client that, we kind of talked about, and other people that we talk about, I'll talk about them first. a lot of times that's what we do here is a headache. So when you mention you don't have a headache, most people do. I would say it's kind of like a dull nagging headache, and obviously if they reach out to us, we're like, your body, can you push through, not push through, all of that. Seek your doctor if you need to, but for the most part, a dull nagging headache is pretty common, especially for those caffeine users, and that's what I see most of the time, that it's the caffeine users. I will say, I'll tell Todd's story here. Of course, he hasn't done this kit in a while, but he did it before his tick bite, because obviously he wouldn't be able to do this because he has alpha-gal syndrome and from a tick bite, so he can't do the hydro beef anymore, protein shakes. I will mention, if you're vegan, Designs for Health does have one that's a vegan shake, and so I was telling him that the other day, and he was like, oh, that would be great for me. I could do that one. But when he did it, gosh, it's probably been, I don't know, I would say over a year ago that he did the kit. He drinks a lot of caffeine. He drinks a lot of coffee, gets up really early, and he likes his pre-workouts, he likes his coffee, and so he did not feel super great for, it was days, like 4 to 6 days. I can't remember how long it was. And he was like, oh, when does this get better? And I'm like, I promise, just keep pushing through. It'll kind of lift. And then once it did, he actually felt so great. He was like, I think I'm going to go for a run. And he loves to work out in the garage and, and strength train mostly, and not like so much just going for a run. But he started running like on the second week of the detox kit because he felt so amazing. He's like, I feel light as a feather. I just feel great. And so that was kind of like what his experience was. But for me, for this time, so I do want to share with you guys that I was supposed to start the same day that Angela and our client started. But I was like, guys, I have been looking, I looked at the calendar and I was like, I've messed up. I'm supposed to start my cycle that day. And I will be a bear. I'm not going to start the detox kit the same day that I started my cycle. So we were supposed to start on a Monday. And sure enough, that Monday night, my cycle started. And so I put it off until I felt back 100%. So I'm about 4 days behind them, which is fine. It doesn't really matter, right? So I was still able to kind of be a part of it. And it allowed me to sort of prepare. So for those 4 days, I didn't do, again, any of my pre-workout or anything, so that I could like really have the best feeling once I started the kit. So this time, most of the time, I did get that kind of headache. Every time I've done the detox kit before now, I did get that headache for a couple of days, but I did not have it this time. I mean, maybe for a couple of hours, like I just didn't feel super great, but I did not have it this time. But what I did have is one night we were getting ready to go to bed. I had just washed my face. And Todd was like, hey, is your face kind of broken out? And of course, I've shared here that that's what's seems to be sensitive for me. For me, it's really not my gut, even though obviously I know that the gut-skin connection is an obvious thing. I don't really have like a major gut issues, but a lot of times if I have a sensitivity or, something's going on, stress, whatever, it shows up on my face, right? So I actually had almost kind of, and I'm showing it here on the screen too, that it almost started kind of at my eye and went sort of down on the right side to my neck. And he was like, yeah, you need to get up and go look at it. And sure enough, it was almost kind of like a red, itchy sort of rash looking thing. But I woke up the next morning. I slept fine. I slept great, actually. I woke up the next morning. It was completely gone, and it's been completely gone since then. I would say my face is probably clearer now than it normally is, which is great. I love that part of the detox kit as well. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of share that experience a little bit with you and like why I do that. I just knew that, a lot of times you don't feel your best on day 1, day 2 of your cycle. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait a couple days, make sure that, I'm feeling my best. So, all right, Angela, so tell us a little bit about like how you adapt and like to, maybe a rough night, and like how you would adapt, where maybe even though we say you're doing a detox kit, do it 100%. Why maybe have you not done 100%?
Yeah, and what's interesting too, before I even jump there, is I'm actually about to start my cycle. And now that I'm listening to you, I'm like, that's interesting because I usually will have like one breakout. Like I don't usually struggle with acne, but I will know my cycle's coming because I'm like, oh, there's something. I actually don't have any right now. And it's probably going to come like today or tomorrow. And on top of that, like I don't feel it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, it could come. I feel totally fine. You know what I mean? So
That's awesome.
yeah, so I'm excited I'm excited to have the cycle and see how it is. And I think you notice that when your liver is clear, right? And then I will also go back and say to Diana's question. So we had a crazy night. I think it was like the fourth night into the cleanse or fifth night into the cleanse, where one of our smoke detectors went off. The girls had just gone down. And so you guys know, if you've had kids, like, oh my gosh, we did have to call like the fire department just to come check everything out, even though we knew there wasn't a fire. So, I mean, our 6-year-old was worked up. I mean, she did not go down to sleep at night. She was in our bed all night asking 20 questions. And so I remember I might have talked to you, Diana, the next morning. I was like, I definitely ate breakfast this morning because I was up all night. My nervous system was on fight or flight because her nervous system was on fight or flight. And so when you're trying to support the body in detoxification, stress will deteriorate every effort of that. And so I knew that my nervous system was in fight or flight. And so to undereat that next day and push through is not okay. And that's what we want you to know. It's like, yes, go all in on this detox. But what's also interesting is I didn't wake up and have coffee, right? Like I wasn't like giving in to like, well, I had a rough night, I'm going to get up and have coffee. I was like, what do I need to support my body in a healthy manner that still supports this detox? And so I did have, like a palm, how we talk about our palm full of protein. I did have a palm full of eggs that morning. And with that, I had the shake and the capsules. Because if you think about it, the shake and the capsules, you're getting protein through the shake. So it's additional protein, and the capsules are supporting natural detox. They could be essentially taken with food. Like when you lay this cleanse out, nothing needs to be taken on an empty stomach, right? So it's like all of this actually just supports the natural eating process that we talk about. And so it didn't, let's say, derail my progress at all. You know what I mean? Like I still was feeling pretty clear that day and everything else, but I knew I was going to need something a little bit more than just that shake that morning. And so if you do decide to do the cleanse and you find yourself, like if you've got littles or something else happens in your life, it's okay to do that, but don't, I think what we get in the habit of doing is we're like, oh, I had such a rough night. Like I deserve, and I've done this before. It's like, I deserve that cup of coffee this morning, or I deserve, something. And it's like, what does your body actually need? Ask yourself that. So I think it can be adapted and still be super beneficial and effective.
Yeah, I had somewhat of a similar experience. I will mention that you did text me that night because you said it was pretty quick after you gotten the girls down. So you and I were both still up and you text me and I was like, well, I mean, one thing that you can do is use it as a learning experience, like not a learning experience, but like a what to do, right? So like if this actually happened, what would you do in the case of a fire? And so that you kind of have a plan, because a lot of times we don't have a plan. And so anyways, I was like, just do that. But I'm sure then that was like, okay, well then what about this? So you were up all night answering all of those questions.
I think I did tell her, because you said, yeah, like it happened to you and your girls. I think I said that to her, and then right away it was like, oh, how old were they, Mom? How, like, all the questions, and I was like, why did I keep talking? So yeah, it was a long night. Yeah,
I will say that the girls, like, they still remember it, and I mean, still a little bit traumatized may be like a really strong word for it, but kind of traumatized by it, because it was kind of terrifying, just to be, it's so loud like that, but anyway, so I kind of had the same experience with you with like sort of a stressful day. And I mean, I came home after being with a family member. Not that it was like a super stressful day, but it just was a long day, and I was out of my normal routine and whatever. And I came home and Todd had made like a really simple dinner or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I am not doing that shake right now. I'm going to have this dinner because I know that I had gone all day without eating. And and I just didn't really feel my best. And so I was like, I know that my body needs a little bit of carbs. Like I need some good healthy protein, like some good fulfilling chicken. Like I need to actually chew my food and have like this bigger meal. And then but then the next day I got right back on it, having my 2 shakes again. And so I will say that, I want to mention that most of the time people have 2 shakes and then 1 meal. And you can have your breakfast and then have your shakes the other 2 meals, but most people do breakfast and lunch with the shake and then have their dinner, because a lot of times that's what you do, with your family, a sit down meal, whatever. But you can kind of change it around. But I am having kind of like a 4th like snack, like almost like small meal. A lot of times, sometimes that looks like, one time it was just a matter of a handful of blueberries and some walnuts with some pumpkin seeds, and I just had that sort of as my snack. But if I'm exercising more, then honestly, one time I had, just some plain taco meat, and then I will pair that with something else too. So that was almost like kind of a 4th meal that I had. I'm not necessarily doing this to just like lose a massive amount of weight. I mean, sure, I could stand to do that, but I just want I want to optimize my health and feel my best. That is the name of the game for me. And so yeah, that's kind of how I adapted to it.
Yeah, I think those snacks though are actually, I'm glad you mentioned them. I think they're important because we have a member who is doing it with us, and I think she was getting the headaches, and yes, it could have been the caffeine, but it quickly got better for her when she also made sure she was stabilizing her blood sugar with a mid-morning snack and a mid-afternoon snack. So remember, guys, headaches can be caffeine related, but they can also feel the same and be because of blood sugar dysregulation. And so if you're used to eating several meals a day and then you go on a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and just 1 meal, your blood sugar could get thrown off. So sometimes you might need, like, I think a snack for me, I was doing hard-boiled eggs and beets. Again, you don't have to do what I do, but I know beets support detoxification. And so I would pair those 2, and I would have like 2 hard-boiled eggs and like 3, beets, not large, but like small beets. So that's a decent snack when you think about it. And then one day I actually did put together like a little salad as a snack, but it was with arugula. And I mean, it wasn't much, but it was like arugula with some tomatoes and cucumber. I think I put a little bit of balsamic vinegar in it, like just something like that, because I can tell my body is craving the detoxification. And so I've been trying to think of foods and pairing them that support detoxification. So you guys know, like, arugula is amazing to support. Like, those are bitters, right? They support digestion. They support detoxification. Beets are fantastic. Anything high, like if you think of leafy greens that are high in B vitamins are going to support digestion. Anything with like ginger, if you even need like a tea in there, or if I wanted an extra cup of bone broth, I would have it as a like midday, drink to fulfill me if I felt like I needed more protein that day. So that, I think, is huge to remember that those options are there. And some people will need to depend on them a little bit heavier than others. It doesn't mean you're messing up the detox by any means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about the blood sugar, because sometimes it's a blood sugar headache, where it's kind of their roller coaster and a little bit with that. Sometimes it's the caffeine headache. But then I'll also mention a lot of those people that, I think of the people that talk about having fibromyalgia and things like that, where they have a lot of achy joints and they just they'll describe themselves as like feeling inflamed a lot. They just are achy and, whatever. Those people, if they choose to do it, obviously, I mean, we're not doctors. Check with your doctor first before, if you want to, before doing anything like this. But a lot of times those people do best actually only doing 1 shake a day, and spreading it out. Instead of it being a 14-day kit, it's actually a 28-day kit. And then, of course, if they were just doing the 1 shake, then they would still kind of eat according to the guide for the other 2 meals, but it just sort of spreads theirs out, and it doesn't detox them quite as much as it does, like for me and you, where we're doing 2 a day. So I did want to mention that too.
Yeah, because they're already under, their bodies are under a decent amount of stress. So that's actually a beautiful way to still support the cleansing process naturally, but yet not derail yourself into like debilitating pain. And so then that will bring me to the last thing I would love to say about the kit is one thing I have noticed, which is interesting because we speak so much about this, Diana, as gut girls, is hydration. So when you guys wake up in the morning, and I hear this because I'm a chiropractor here in Virginia, people are like, I suddenly feel old because I've got to stretch, I've got to, wake my body up. Doing this reset, I have been drinking, what I had actually paired it with was Designs for Health. I think they're called Hydro Sticks. You might know the exact name of them, Diana, but it's basically their electrolyte that's in a stick. So every day I've been making sure that I'm having those electrolytes. Guys, I wake up feeling so good. Like, I do not hurt at all. And like sometimes it will be like my low back. And even right now, I'm about to start my cycle and I'll usually feel it in my low back. I feel amazing. So it's like the hydration. I think I even said to you at one point, Diane, I was like, I can't stop peeing on this detox kit. But I'm truly drinking more than I used to. And then think about, I cut out the caffeine. So caffeine is going to dehydrate you. So I am the most hydrated I've probably been in a long time. And I feel that's the clarity. That's the, like I don't wake up with like bags under my eyes. Not that I typically do, but I mean, I am getting 40. Like I am 40. Every now and then I will wake up and be like, what is this under here? You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my skin. It's shiny. It looks great. I'm not having any bags under my eyes. I'm feeling my best. So, I mean, this, guys, is available for you. And really, if you think about the purpose of it, is it brings you back to all the basics that Diana and I talk about in our basics guide, like protein first, blood sugar regulation, hydration, gentle movement that nourishes circulation and lymphatic drainage in the body. This kit brings it all into a beautiful 2-week package. So, Diana, do you want to tell them where and how to access the kit if they're interested?
Yeah. So there's actually 2 different ways that you can go about this. Like one, you can go to our website, which is gutgirls.health, and there's a tab up there that says supplements. You can go to that and you can create an account under our practitioner name and purchase the detox kit. I do want to remind you to make sure it's called the Paleo Cleanse. What's the actual words of it, Angela?
Paleo Cleanse Detox Plus. And it's 2 flavors. So talk about that too while you're at it.
Yeah. So there are 2 flavors. One is the strawberry vanilla flavor. That's not 2 different flavors. It's one flavor. Strawberry vanilla. And then the other one is chocolate. I would say, of course, I sell this in my store. And of course, we have clients that go on our website and buy it all the time too. But I would say 7 or 8 out of 10 buy the chocolate one. I think it tastes a little bit better. In fact, I almost kind of think this morning I was drinking my shake as we were in the car with the girls, and Michaela was like, it smells like Fruit Loops in here. And even though I have the chocolate one, it is almost like a little bit of a fruity taste to it. And so I was like, no, we're not having Fruit Loops. She's like, oh man, we haven't had cereal in a long time. We never have cereal. It's probably been a decade since that kid's had cereal, but she still was like, oh my gosh, Fruit Loops.
She remembers the smell.
She does. That's the sugar. That's the addicting part to it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can go onto our website, gutgirls.health, and just purchase it that way. The other way that you can do it, you also go to our website, gutgirls.health, but on the homepage, you can scroll down a little bit, and there's 3 different tiers that talk about like our membership tiers. And I'm not going to go into it too much, but the starter one is $15, and that one gets you into our membership hub. It doesn't do the live calls and some of those things, but what it does have is a fantastic resource library that we've developed over the past really 5 to 8 years. I mean, really, since we've kind of been working together to do this. And we talk about batch cooking. We talk about what a post antibiotic guide. I mean, I wish I had the number of like actual resources on there, but it's 40 or 50 resources that talks about sort of our personal wellness strategies. So if our kids have a cough, what do we do? How do we nebulize it?
If we get a rash, what do we do?
If we get a rash, what do we do? What's our daily health protocol? What do we do for hair, skin, and nails? Like, I mean, kind of everything. We've packed it all into that resource library. So you can go into that and just do the tier 1 membership, and it's $15. And you can cancel it anytime, so you can go in there and look at those. We hope that you don't cancel it anytime, because we are going to constantly be developing more and more resources to put in there, as they arise. And so we want you to keep staying in there. But once you're in there, then you can go into that supplement tab inside the membership hub and go in through the Designs for Health website that way. And there's actually a code in there where you'll get 15% off. So you'll get that money back, the $15 that you pay, you'll get it back on when you do the detox kit, when you buy the detox kit. There's also other supplements. I mean, most all of the supplements we talk about on here, I mean, the paleo fiber, I know we've talked about that on here. We've talked about magnesium, all kinds of things. Those are mostly all Designs for Health supplements that we use. And so you have access to those, but also Cellcore supplements. You also have access to all of our full script and all of those at a discount. So you, again, make that money back right away just by having that membership. So anyways, you go to our website, to the homepage, and you'll click on that, join the membership, put your credit card information in, and you'll join our membership hub. You do have, even though I mentioned that you don't get access to like what we have, our live coaching calls and things like that, because that's for our other tiers and for our alumni and things. So we'd love for you to eventually join us in those. But one thing you do have access to is we want you to be part of our community and have access to our Group Me app. And on there, we talk about, what movement we're doing for the day. We do share recipes and things in there. We just encourage each other in there. We talk about, maybe what Bible study or what book we're reading or just kind of anything. But doing this as a community has been so beneficial. It's so nice to be able to kind of support one another in that. So, Angela, anything else I missed about that?
I would just say if you are going to do the cleanse, it's probably the best way to do it is through the tier 1, because to have a membership to walk you through like some of those symptoms that we talked about today, like the headache, or maybe you're having a hard time on the shakes, like Diana mentioned, she'll walk you through the different ways to mix it up so that it blends better. Like all the tips and tricks that help you just be successful with something like this, you're going to find that the community does that. It provides it for you. So I would say that's the best way to access it. But we can't wait to hear you guys join our membership and have some of the same success that we're having. And so we look forward to hearing from you in that Group Me. And it's been great just to walk you through this experience that we're sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Gut Girls podcast. The Gut Girls podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. We are not acting as licensed medical professionals. Always consult your doctor before making any changes to your health routine.